All right, and we are back here on the GSMC Football Podcast. And for the fourth part of the show, we're going to now get into talking about the Jets Vikings matchup in London. Jets coming in at 2-2 on the season. Vikings, one of the two remaining undefeated teams in the NFL. And, the Jets, they're coming off of that loss to the Broncos that just it was not great. It was not great. Not great. 10-9 the final score of that game was. And the Vikings, another win. Got a little dicey at the end with the Packers, but they were able to secure that win and improve to 4-0 in the year. Yeah, this is a must-win for the Jets. That loss to the Broncos was not great. You could tell Aaron Rodgers is still not on the same page with Garrett Wilson. And you got to hope that changes, and that needs to change in a hurry if the Jets are going to want to do anything. Also, the Jets didn't really run the football great. Breece Hall was not good. And you got to give these guys more opportunities to run the football, establish a running game. And I think they're going to try to do that here. I would imagine they're going to try to give Breece Hall the ball more. I mean, because, in that weather, and I brought this up. I mean, look at what Breece Hall did against the Patriots the final week of the regular season last year in the snow. That's what they should have been doing in this game. But you know what? Credit to the Broncos defense. The Broncos defense played really well. They've played really well these last couple of weeks against some good teams. I still think the Jets are a good team, but I got to see more from them. You thought after the win against the Patriots, like, okay, they're really going to get it going here, but they took a step back. Now, you could blame the weather. The weather was a factor, but still should have been able to win that game. But the Broncos defense, they shut them down. The Broncos defense shut down the Buccaneers offense. I mean, look what the Bucs offense has done outside of that game against Denver. They beat the Lions in Detroit. They blew out the Commanders. Put up a lot of points against the Falcons last night. Just was on the wrong end of it. And then the Eagles last week. So, I give credit to the Broncos defense. Their defense is legit. But for the Jets, man, got to get it going here. Cannot drop this game. It's going to be tough because after that, you got the Bills, then you're at the Steelers. Those are tough games coming up. I think the Jets can win both of those games, but, the Vikings right now, I think, are the best team in football. And if the Jets could get this win, that would be a huge boost for this team. However, when I look at this matchup, and I look at one of the matchups is the coaches. Kevin O'Connell against Robert Saleh. I got to take Kevin O'Connell. Robert Saleh and this coaching staff is ultimately what is going to hold this team back. And, at the beginning of the year, you looked at this game and you're like, this is a game the Jets can win. And they could still very well win this game. But this game is a lot tougher than what I anticipated before the season. Because Sam Darnold's playing really well. The Vikings defense is playing well. And, they almost have their full complement of weapons. TJ Hawkinson is going to come back soon. Jordan Addison came back and scored 2 touchdowns in the game against the Packers. So, and on top of that, Aaron Jones has run the football well. And you got Justin Jefferson off to a good start. So the Jets defense is going to have their hands full. Are they going to be able to get after Sam Darnold? This defense has not looked as good as it has been in years past. They looked like they hit their stride against the Patriots. And you know what? They did play well. I mean, look, they only held the Broncos to 10 points. But it's just that touchdown drive to Courtland Sutton made all the difference. But they didn't get to Bo Nix. They didn't get to Bo Nix once. I believe it's just they gotta have a pass rush in this game and get after Sam Darnold, because if not, with all those weapons, it's going to be hard for the Jets to stop him. And the other thing too is, Aaron Rodgers, he got sacked a handful of times against the Broncos. Now you got to deal with this Vikings pass rush, and you're a little banged up on the offensive line. That's going to be a problem. And Aaron Rodgers is a little banged up. You don't want him to get even more banged up. The last time he played an international game, he ended up getting hurt, the thumb injury, and that was part of the reason why the Packers struggled, is him being hurt throughout that whole season. But you don't want him to get even more hurt in this game. You got to protect him. But it's not going to be easy. This Vikings pass rush is really good. Brian Flores has this defense playing really well. He really has turned this defense around. A couple of years ago when they made the playoffs, it was not a good defense. But these last 2 years, it's been a solid unit. And got to give Brian Flores a lot of credit for turning it around there. So, yeah, they're going to get after Aaron Rodgers. But it's up to the Jets' offensive line to make sure that does not happen. So, going into this game, when you look at the injury report, Morgan Moses is still going to be out. C.J. Mosley was limited at practice. He's questionable for the game. Hopefully the Jets can get him back. That would be a huge boost on defense. T.J. Hawkinson, we'll see when he eventually comes back. But, for the most part, the Vikings are healthy going into this game. Like I said, the Jets are without Morgan Moses, who maybe will be coming back the following week. But, yeah, we'll see what happens in this game. Right now, so when this line first opened up, the Jets were 4-point favorites. Now they're 3-point underdogs. So, we'll see what happens. I mean, I think Rodgers will play good in this game as long as he's protected and not running for his life. And I expect Sam Darnold to play well in this game too. When you look at the league rankings for these teams now, the Jets are 16th in passing yards per game. The Vikings are 11th. Rushing yards per game, the Vikings are 14th. The Jets are 27th. So you want to see that go up. Breece Hall has to have a big game here, along with Braylon Allen, who's been a good player for them so far in his rookie year campaign. And then in terms of points per game, Vikings are 4th. Jets are 22nd. Got to get the ball in the end zone. And then on the defensive side of the ball, the Jets defense is actually second against the pass, giving up an average of 150.8 passing yards per game. The Vikings are dead last, giving up an average of 300.3 passing yards per game. And then against the run, Vikings do a good job. They're second against the run, giving up an average of 75 yards per game, and the Jets are 21st, giving up an average of 128.5 rushing yards per game. And then points allowed, Vikings are 4th, Jets are 5th. So these are two good. The Jets defense at times does not look great, but both teams are top 10 in points allowed. But yeah, I lean towards the Vikings in this game. I don't know, until they are knocked off, and I know I went away from them against the Texans, and then I went back to them against the Packers. I'm not going to go away from them here. It's just I want to take the Jets, but I'm not confident in them in this game. I'm not. I just think the Vikings are playing really well. Like I said, to me right now, they are the best team in football. Although there's some concerns from the win against the Packers. I mean, they let the Packers get back in the game. Sam Darnold did turn the ball over. So maybe they're coming back down to earth a little bit. And maybe in this game, maybe the Jets pull off the upset. Because that's what it would be right now. But I still got to go with the Vikings here. They're the better coach team. I mean, the Jets, you had 10 days in between the win against the Patriots and the game against the Broncos, and they just were not prepared. This doesn't mean me not picking them doesn't mean I'm off the Jets bandwagon, but they got to figure it out. And I don't know if it's going to be this week. So, that's why I'm leaning towards the Vikings. I'm going to say final score. I'm going to say 27-20. I'm going to say is the final score. I mean, this is a team Aaron Rodgers knows very well. So, look, I think he's going to go out there and play well. As long as he's protected. They got to protect him. That is one of the biggest things. If they can't protect him, then forget it. They got no shot. But if they can give him time, he gets on the same page with his receivers. I mean, Allen Lazard and Mike Williams. I mean, Garrett Wilson has made plays too. It's not like he hasn't. But you could tell there's something off. And they got to get it together. And maybe reinforcements are on the way. Maybe Devontae Adams ends up coming in and then your top 3 wide receivers are Devontae Adams, Allen Lazard / Mike Williams, and Garrett Wilson. That's not bad. That's not a bad receiving core. It's a very good. That's, you get Devontae Adams in there. That is a very good receiving core. So we'll have to wait and see if that ends up happening, but it's not going to be this week. It's going to be down the road at some point. So, but let me know what you guys think about this game. Who do you think will win? What are some of your predictions for the game? Let me know in the comments. Can the Jets knock off the Vikings and give them their first loss? That remains to be seen. The Vikings at some point will lose a game. They will. They're not going undefeated. But, they are, for a team that I had 6 wins. I only had them at 6 wins. They have proven me wrong. Well, Sam Darnold's really proven me wrong. Because I didn't think he was going to be playing as good as, he is right now. I thought he would be decent, but when you took a look at that schedule and you saw that they were playing the Texans, the 49ers, the Packers, excluding the Giants, even though I thought the Giants could win that game, you thought the Vikings were not going to have a very good record up until this point. But they've won some tough games, and this is a tough game here for them, and then they take on the Lions soon. So they are really, they're proving a lot of people wrong, including myself. But but I always said they had a good roster. It's just the quarterback position. That's really what it was going to come down to. And Sam Darnold is playing really well. And I think that's going to continue in this game against his former team. And he's already beaten his former team before. He beat him with the Panthers. So, but let's see how he plays in this game here. The second international game of the season. Forgot about the game in Brazil. So, but yeah, let me know what you guys think about this game. Like I said, who do you think is going to win? Again, this is a big game for the Jets. They got to win this game. But I'm not picking them. I'm picking the Vikings. So we're going to take our final break of the show. And then when we come back, we're going to take a look at the rest of the matchups for this weekend. We'll take a look at the matchups in college football. And then we'll look at the rest of the matchups in the NFL. And that is what we will, and that's how we'll wrap up the show for today. So, for one final time today, stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Football Podcast.